There are two things that you need to help a friend who you think might be in an abusive relationship. This is potentially one of the most common questions that I get in my work. On a pretty weekly basis, I receive emails from friends and family members and loved ones who have these concerns about someone's relationship and they're just not quite sure what to do. And in a few future videos, I'm going to give you a whole bunch of communication strategies and things that you can try. But in this video, I want to talk about the two most important qualities and mindsets to have, and that is presence and patience. Let me explain. First and foremost, it's really important to understand that abusive and controlling partners will attempt to isolate the person that they are dating. So there's a good chance that your friend's partner has strategically worked to kind of remove or distance them from the people that they normally connect with. And if you're wondering why, that's because for someone who is abusive or controlling or jealous or possessive, things like friends, family members, even their partner's hobbies are perceived as potential threats to the relationship. So what they will do is they will try their hardest to isolate them from those outside connections. They might belittle and put down and make fun of their partners, friends and family members and peer groups and hobbies. And they also might do things like try to control who they're with, when they go out. They might expect their partner to spend all of their time with them and only them. And these are examples of isolation because, again, this helps them to feel like they are in control of the relationship by eliminating all of those outside threats. And knowing this as a friend, this is why it's so important to stay present. Unfortunately, if you've ever tried to approach your friend or voice some concern and perhaps they didn't want to receive it, or maybe it even caused a little bit of drama and tension, most friends will start to get really frustrated and fed up and eventually just kind of walk away from the friendship. They'll say things like, you know what, I'm done with her, I'm done with them, I've tried talking to them a million times, they don't listen to me. But if you do that, you are only further supporting their partner's attempt at isolating them. That's what their partner wants. So this is why it's important to stay present. And yes, the friendship might change, the dynamics might be different. You might not hear from them as often as you normally would or want to, but just see this as something temporary and know that in order to be a good friend, you just have to practice presence, staying consistent in their life, persistently showing up from time to time. This way, they have some connection to someone outside of the relationship. The second quality and mindset that's really important to have is patience. Leaving any relationship is hard, right? Let alone if it's an abusive and controlling one. These types of relationships are even more complex. There's a pretty good chance that your friend has probably thought about leaving this relationship, especially if there's some toxic behaviors. They may have even attempted to leave, but just not succeeded at doing so. Or they might just be really confused themselves and they want to give it some time in hopes that it might change. And this is pretty common. But statistically, it takes a victim of abuse an average of 7 attempts at leaving before they actually successfully do. To be quite honest, sometimes it's easier just to stay in the relationship than to even think about what leaving might look like, especially if your partner is volatile and has extreme anger and mood swings. So this can take a long amount of time. And this is why patience as a friend is so important. Just understanding that this is a process and you might have to just sadly be a bystander for a while to it before they're ready to actually leave. Often, nothing you say can make that decision for them. You can certainly say some things that help them kind of gain some awareness to think about leaving, but nothing you say can just trigger them to decide, okay, you're right, I'm going to walk away. So, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a future video. I'll talk about what you might be able to say, like what things actually do work, because most victims will defend their partners if you try to, point out things. It's just, it's complex, but we'll save that for the next video. So, Presence and patience are so important. And if you practice both of those things, this is really powerful because it'll assure your friend that one, there will be no judgment, and two, when that day comes, if they ever feel ready, that you are the person that they can turn to. Unfortunately, many victims do find themselves pretty alone at some point with truly no one to talk to. But if you've been consistent, stayed present, not ever made them feel judged or uncomfortable, when that day comes, you will be the person that they call, text, reach out to. So if you found this helpful, be sure to bookmark it, come back to it as a reminder, because honestly, as friends, this can be stressful. It can affect us and our emotions. And, it's important to take care of yourself in the process. But, when you find yourself getting a little bit fed up, come back to this video and give it a watch. And of course, in the comments, if you've ever had a friend that's been in an abusive relationship, or maybe you've been the one who is in a bad relationship, what other strategies have you seen work? What types of conversations or approaches were really helpful? I think we can learn a lot from each other in the comments section. And as always, if you like this content, please be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow along, because I want to show up here more and I want to share much more, and of course, answer as many questions as possible. So again, thanks for being here, and I will see you in the next video.